So this weekend, this weekend I just took time to myself. Also, I wasn't well enough to do much of anything, so perfect timing, really. Yeah.
Well, I was told that the 5G was turned on in Pahia last Monday. I had a feeling it had been on anyway, but I think they might have turned it off.
It's been on because of, our friend who's staying with us, his phone keeps telling him 5G since he got here last week. And we've been having terrible headaches as well. But also, I don't know if it's maybe because it's, it's been so long on the diet. It's kind of, I haven't lost weight. I feel I'm craving a lot at night again in the evenings. I don't know if it's all connected. And then I had the vertigo, and then I had nausea, and then I was really, really hungry. So the boy, Dave's away at the moment, so I'm just making the most of doing a bit of fasting.
Right. Okay.
And yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I have a feeling that I might be able to help you with that one, because I have a feeling it could be what we're going to talk about tonight. So we'll go over that in a minute. Okay. Anyone else want to share what's going on with them in life or anything?
I can chime in.
Awesome.
Yeah, hi everyone, lovely to see you. Yeah, it's I've just moved house this last few days, and that with that comes that tumultuous energy of change, and keeping up with the protocol when you've got a lot of changes going on has been a part of the lesson and the learning in this. I know that I'm in this for good and for the long term, and I know that eating and being this way serves me and my highest good. And what I notice is that how the ego mind will come in and try to trample on some good habits and good behaviors when something stressful or out of routine comes along. And right now I'm well out of routine. I'm having, we've all moved house, right? We remember what it's like, and it's it comes with its own trials and tribulations. But I have bought my pressure cooker to where I'm staying at the moment, and I'm going to be making some broths tomorrow and getting myself right back in the game.
Nice.
As I said to Karen this morning, I'm sitting at about 80% of following the plan, and my body has found his set point. So last detox, my set point was 66.4, and my new set point is 62.4. So I'm tracking down, but I've got to this new threshold. So now I know that I need to do another fast to do a reset. So yeah, I'm learning more and more about my body every time.
Yeah, it's really interesting, actually. The more that we dive into it, the more I'm personally learning about me, and I'm sure you guys are doing the same. And so it's really it's for the long haul, and I think that's what I'm really realizing is in my work life. Very often we're wanting to achieve a certain goal, whether it's a weight loss goal or whether it's to get rid of a pain or to get rid of whatever. And it seems to be quite short-termish. And I think this is what the Ultimate Detox is about. It's actually about long-term habits to help you emotionally, physically, and spiritually evolve into this, so that it's not a diet. It's not so much of a challenge. And the more I'm going through it, the easier it gets. And so so it's a really interesting journey, that's for sure. Okay. One more. Anyone else want to share? Hi, Tegan. Hi. Someone else joined. Charmaine was here, I think, but she's seems to.
I like your sweatshirt, Tegan.
It's very cool.
Awesome.
Very cute.
Mm.
Okay. Anyone want to share anything? Anything that's going on? Nope. Okay. Okay. So, hi, Charmaine. I see you've jumped back on. Nice to see your face. Can you hear? Okay. Anyway, so tonight I want to go through Candida and then a little bit about what next. So I know some of you are coming up to the 6-week milestone, and we're going to go into that a little bit. I'll be putting the new booklet on the Facebook page. I'll also send out an email tomorrow, so you've got it in a PDF form and also a flip book form, so that you can access it however you want to access it. And so, okay, so I just wanted to go over a little microbe called Candida. And I'm sure you've heard of Candida. I'm sure if you've had any gut issues or if you've had any bloating or anything else, you've probably had Candida pop into your awareness. And it's quite interesting because back in about 1988, 89, it sort of popped into my awareness because of the chronic fatigue. And so I was researching it, which actually took a long time because this was online, you know, pre Google, pre everything. And so I used to have to go to the library and I had to find books and all sorts of stuff. And I found a really good book, which is a simple little book. And it was called Candida Albicans, Could Yeast Be Your Problem? By an author called Leon Chateau. And Leon Chateau, as a binote, did a book about vaccinations. And his book actually was the one that made me make a decision for our son not to vaccinate. So anyway, that's a by the way. So when I found this book, I read through it and I just went, oh my God, that's me. And so this is a list of the most common Candida symptoms. And so if you haven't come across Candida, this might be of interest. So the most common ones are depression, joint pain, fungal infections on toes and nails, food sensitivities and allergies, sinus infection, vaginal thrush, ongoing yeast infection, brain fog, chronic fatigue, anxiety, food craving, especially sweet and carbohydrate, vision disturbances, digestive issues, including irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, bloating and gas. Some research link all cancers to Candida. Now, I think that's a very broad statement, but they reckon they found cancer in nearly every tumor, every Candida in every tumor that they've found. This was researched by Dr. Simonzi in Italy, I believe. Redness and soreness in the mouth, constant coughs and colds, vaginal itching, urinary infections, cramps, nausea, skin eruptions, skin rashes, low blood pressure, low immunity, low stamina, and also vertigo. And so that's why I thought it might be quite interesting for you, Danny, which we were talking about earlier. Now, the symptoms are so diverse and can easily be misdiagnosed as various different things. The other thing, as a side note, is if you have had thrush and you've been treated with the traditional Canistan or the other, I can't remember the other medications, if you use it once, it appears to stop it in its tracks. But what often happens is it comes back again and you use the medication again. And what happens is it doesn't stop it so quickly, or it just leaves a trace of the thrush. And then the third time, what happens with it, the Candida, being an adaptive molecule, actually starts feeding on the medication and so starts thriving on it. And so that's why it's really important to have a protocol. If you feel Candida could be part and parcel of, say, for example, cravings and that sort of thing, then it's a really good idea to follow a very sort of, it's basically the program, but we can add other things in. And so the thing which I tend to use is you basically have to kill it. So you kill it by normal herbal formulas. There's one which is Horopito. Horopito is a really, really good New Zealand herb that is used worldwide to kill off Candida infections. Now, when you do this, it's the same as what we talked about in our last call about the detox reactions. What very often happens is you start feeling really, really good, and then all of a sudden find yourself feeling worse. And this is what we call Candida die-off, or a healing crisis. And the die-off symptoms can be headaches, brain fog, nausea, flu-like, seasonal allergies like hay fever, and they can really make you feel exhausted and grotty. Some people, when they have a really bad Candida problem, if you don't keep an eye on it, your weight can go down substantially. And so it becomes a bit like anorexia because you feel afraid of eating. And so I don't think any of you lovely ladies are actually in that thing, because we'd have had a conversation about it by now. So when the Candida dies off, it's called a Herxheimer reaction, which is a negative reaction to the toxins that are released by the death of the harmful microorganisms living in your body. They're called endotoxins. Endotoxins are toxins that found out inside bacterial cells that are released when a cell disintegrates. And they cause the immune system to increase response and then cause inflammation as well as overreaction. So the fact is that you could be really achieving much more results than you actually appear to be, because your body could be releasing the endotoxins. And so those endotoxins are actually causing an inflammatory process. That inflammatory process is your body eliminating and getting rid of the Candida. So don't despair, is what I would say to you. It's actually a good thing if you're really sticking to the program, and the Candida die-off will go, and it will go, and you'll get results, and you'll start really, really getting amazing, amazing results. I hope this makes sense. And then, so basically you need to starve it. So you kill it using Horopito or some similar herbs. Now, there are some herbs in your herbal formula that will help kill it off, so you don't have to worry about that. There's also other things like grapefruit seed extract, which you can take, and other stuff like that. So, and then you starve it. So Candida, like every other bacteria and viral infection, thrives on sugar. Tegan, yes, you can test. You can do a blood test you can get from your health shop. I think it's about a 70% sort of like accuracy rate, unless they've improved it. I used to work for a company who used to sell them, and they were a bit hit or miss, because I did the test and it never came up as positive, although I felt that I had it. So who knows? So, but it's a really, it's a good question, because it's definitely a good idea to see if you feel that it could be you. And so you starve Candida by no sugar, no carbohydrates. And so when I first did an anti-Candida program, in my naivety, and I was off gluten and everything else, but what I did do is I fed myself with rice cakes, you know, the big rice cakes, you know, the big square, and I put butter and hummus and stuff on it. But I could eat a whole packet of those in a sitting. And I thought I was being really good, because I hadn't really put two and two together and gone, right, well, rice is carbohydrates, which is actually feeding the Candida. So basically, don't do what I did, you know. So it's a really good idea not to do that. So starve it. Make sure that you're having enough fat. So fat will help kill it too. So if you feel that you're getting hungry and everything else, take some more fat. It's much, much better than going towards the foods that will feed it. Okay, so we don't want you to be afraid of fat. Fat doesn't make you fat. sugars do. And we know that we're here for not just weight loss, but we're here for health. But saturated fat, as in animal fats, are actually really, really good in so many aspects. I will do a little bit of a presentation about it. So avoiding fermented foods as well. Now, there is a bit of controversy about fermented foods and Candida. There's a sort of like yeasts don't feed yeasts and all of that sort of stuff. But very often, many people, when they have the Candida overgrowth, they overreact to a lot of fermented foods. Now, I feel there's an exception to that rule with apple cider vinegar, because I found it actually can enhance the ability to remove Candida from your body. So that's the thing. And then also making sure that you have enough of the minerals. Now, this morning, I posted an old video that I made of making a Himalayan sole on our group. And a Himalayan sole has kept on coming up for me over the last few weeks that I need to share it with you, because Himalayan salt, as you know, is very high in minerals, but also it helps in so many other aspects, because I know some people are struggling with cramps and things. Very often cramp is a potassium deficiency, potassium and sodium. And especially as we're getting into the warmer months, we start sweating a lot more, and our need for potassium and sodium goes up. So if we basically make a Himalayan salt, you can start with a teaspoon in the morning in a small amount of water and knock it back. And honestly, it can really make you feel so much better. But also, if you work your way up to, say, a dessert spoon a day, it can really help your bowels as well. So it hydrates the bowels, so it allows everything to come out. So that's basically, and making sure that you're drinking all your water, of course, to flush it through. And also the charcoal can help grab hold of it and eliminate, as can your bowel build. If you're on Nature's Sunshine bowel build, that can help as well, because it's got the bentonite clay and pectin and other things in. And so can, if you're doing jelly, the jellies can help as well. So the jelly helps with the bowel and helps cleanse out the bowel and everything else. So, so that's basically it with Candida. Now, anyone got questions apart from, so any more questions apart from the test? Rowena?
Just on the fats, you said animal fat. So would it be okay to use a bit more butter?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing some research on tallow, which is, which is beef fat basically. And that's really, really interesting, because it's got conjugated linoleic acid in. And conjugated linoleic acid is it's wonderful for helping removing belly fat. So you can get tallow capsules. If you're interested, I can put the link on our group, because they are really, the research I've been reading about tallow is phenomenal. And it can help with so many other things, as well as accessing energy from the mitochondria, which is your powerhouse of your cells. And so if we can get the powerhouse of our cells working more efficiently, it's all part of the detox and actually thriving. So really, really thriving in your body. And so, yeah, so that's a great question, Rowena. And I think it's fat. My program, Fast Track to Health, has always been low fat, but the reason has been because we want your body to use your unwanted body fat rather than your food fat. And it's very easy to overeat sometimes with fat. But once you're on a roll with this, then you can start introducing, and you'll find that your appetite completely goes if you're eating enough fat. So
what about avocado? Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. That's the next phase. So the reason avocado is because I would say about 50% of people react to avocado, as in inflammation. And so that's why we don't get you to have it on the first phase, because otherwise it can prevent everything from working. And so also the research is that animal fat's so much easier on the body than a lot of the vegetable fats. So, I mean, it's not the same as the seed fats, the seed oils and things, but it's definitely a one that you have to watch out for. Okay, any more questions about Candida? You know I can talk about this forever, don't you? Yeah. So there's a really wonderful study on, I don't know if you know, Living Nature. Living Nature, the cosmetics company in New Zealand. It was the first in the world actually to make a natural preservative cosmetic range. It was the first in the world. And Suzanne Hall, who was the developer, she was the first in the world she kept it as a very close guarded secret what her preservative was. But the preservative in Living Nature's products was grapefruit seed extract. And grapefruit seed extract can kill all known germs dead. It's absolutely a phenomenal product. And if you ever wanted to, you could definitely use a few drops of grapefruit seed extract, because it's sort of, the grapefruit seed extract is from the seed and from the pulp. So it's not just the seed. And it inhibits bacteria, fungal, parasites, and viruses. And it's extremely low toxicity for us. So it doesn't affect us as in inflammation. And so it's really, really good antibacterial. So it's a wonderful natural antibiotic. And I bought my first one, I think it was 1991 when it first started to come out. And I think I've still got it. It won't go off because nothing will kill it. Nothing will attack it. It's really quite interesting. And so it's actually effective on more, I'm just reading it here, more than 800 bacterial and viral strains, 100 strains of fungus, including, of course, Candida, and single cell and multi-cell parasites. So it's a really good one to have in your cupboard. Even if you don't think you've got Candida, it's a really, really good one, because you don't need very much. You just need a few drops, and it comes in a little thing. Wonderful to have in your bathroom cabinet. And if anyone starts getting a sore throat or anything, it's great to have in your tea or whatever. When it tastes a bit bitter. So there's lots of other anti-Candida supplements, but what I found is you just have to be consistent with diet, with taking herbs and minerals. So it's a really, really important one. And also, of course, is probiotics. So Rotary being my favorite. And Rotary can really help with the killing off of the Candida too. So it's a double whammy with Rotary. And if you've not heard me talk about Rotary, I'd be very surprised if you've not heard me talk about Rotary, because it's the only one I talk about really. So basically, Rotary is the gut bacteria we get from the birth canal and from breast milk. So it helps to sort of populate the baby's gut with good bacteria, and also help kill off any bad bacteria that might be around. And so if you're going to take Rotary, I would recommend taking it last thing at night. Take 2 last thing at night, and that'll help populate your gut. Okay, right. That's probably enough on Candida by now. I see some of you glazing over, so read. Okay, right. So next stage. This is the fun part, ladies. So the fun part of next 40 days, after your first 40 days, I think it's this weekend, the ones that started on the official date. If you've never done fast track before, or you've never done the ultimate detox before, or you've done fast track before and haven't done the second stage, I would encourage you to do what it says in the booklet. And that is introduce 1 food a day, first being butter. If you've already introduced butter, cool. Then go to the second one, which is coconut oil. And so what we're doing now is you've been using your scales every day, hopefully, while you've been on the program, and you've seen your weight going down, hopefully, most days. So what we're doing this time is your weight can still drop, by the way. It's very often people lose more weight in this phase than they do in the first. So don't panic if you've got more weight to lose. So what you do is you introduce your first food. So say tomorrow we were doing it, you introduce butter and you make sure you have a good quantity of it. So one meal, you have a big knob of butter in with your fish or steak or whatever. And then the next day you check on your scales. Now, if your scales remain the same or go down, butter's cool. You're sweet with butter. Okay. So then the next day you introduce coconut oil, and again, your weight remains stable. Sweet. Third day, Rowena, you'll be interested in this one, is avocado. And so you introduce avocado on the third day. Now, if you eat your avocado, you can eat a whole avocado. It's no sort of limit on that. And the next day when you weigh yourself in the morning, your weight has gone up 600 grams or more, then avocado potentially is not an ideal food for you to have on a regular basis. Because when the body reacts to a food, it shows up on the scales first, before you have a symptom of any type. So by clocking that and realizing, okay, avocado doesn't mean to say you can't ever have avocado. It just means to say you might have it once a week. And then you go through, so if you have got inflammation, you go back to the original or the foods that you can have. So you've got coconut oil and butter in as well. So you go back to that. And then the next day, your weight should go back to your lowest setting. And then you continue. So every day you're introducing a new food, and you'll notice on the program that we aren't introducing the carbohydrates as yet. We're introducing nuts and seeds, we're introducing vegetables, and we're introducing the other proteins, but we're not introducing the carbohydrates per se. And the reason for that is I would recommend, if you're going to add in the carbohydrates, just include one a week, because it can take up to 5 days for the inflammation to show up as far as carbohydrates are concerned. So the reason this has sort of came about is a lot of my clients, when they've been on the program and they went away and they basically said, well, I had potatoes and my weight went down. And then 2 days later, their weight rebounded and went up over 1 kilo, and they couldn't work out what it was about. And so it took quite a long time for us to work it out, is that basically it takes about 5 or 6 days for your body to actually react to the carbohydrates. And so by doing one carbohydrate a week, it actually enables you to really learn, right, my body doesn't mind corn, but it doesn't like wheat, for example, or vice versa. And also remembering that not all things are created equal. So you could have corn and your body might react to it, but if you've got organic corn, you might be all right. So you can really, really start fine-tuning things if you choose to do so. And I would encourage you to do the normal things that you would tend to have on a regular basis, like your avocados and maybe your favorite vegetable, or that isn't on the list, so cauliflower or beans or whatever, just to check to make sure that your body is okay with them. Now, if you've already done that bit, and I know some of you have, then I would encourage you to stay on the program, but with a twist. So, okay, say for example, this weekend, you go into step 2. On Saturday, you allow yourself to have a meal that isn't on the program. So, for example, you might go out for bacon and eggs and having breakfast, and might be a sausage today that you wouldn't normally have, and you can have that. And then So basically is allow yourself to just be free and enjoy something you've really missed. That's on Saturday. So when you do get to maintenance stage, when you've lost all the weight you want to lose and you just want to keep, just want to keep healthy, is you can have a day where you eat what you like and do what you like. But I would recommend, if you're still on the program, just limit it to one meal. And then on Sunday, do 2 meals a day, the same back protocol. And then do 2 days of fasting, your broth fasting. So you have your meal on Sunday night, and you don't have a meal on Monday and have a meal on Tuesday night. That way you're doing 48 hours of fasting, so your body is able to eliminate any inflammatory process that might be going on from your meal on Saturday, and then you can continue with the healing processes. And so on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you eat healthily. So you do your intermittent fasting, and then you start again. Does that make sense? Anyone got any questions thus far?
Can you just say that cycle again, please, Karen?
Right, okay. So Saturday is free for all day. Well, one meal, if you're still on the program. So one meal, you can have whatever you like, whatever you fancy, whatever rocks your boat, whatever you've been craving, you just have what you like. Sunday, 2 meals a day, intermittent fasting, more or less what you've been eating. And then from Sunday night, you have your meal. Then Monday, you broth fast. And Tuesday, you broth fast until your evening meal. So you're doing 48 hours of fasting, but you're only missing one main meal. So it really is easy. And then from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you go into intermittent fasting and your 2 meals a day, healthy eating. Everyone got that? Makes sense? Any questions about the process? Jules?
Karen, can I just ask, just to clarify back into the phase first tomorrow,
Yeah.
if you introduce butter day 1 and you're okay, day 2, you have butter and coconut oil?
If you want to.
Oh, that's so by day 3, I can have butter, coconut oil, and avocado.
As long as you're all right with it.
I haven't reacted.
Yeah. I think if you had all that fat, your bowels would probably be going quite fast. But yeah.
Very good.
Yes, in theory, you definitely can do that, Jules.
You don't just have to do 1 a day and drop the others. You can...
Not really, no. I mean, you probably would, because you probably wouldn't want all of that. But, in theory, you can do that. Now, there is a proviso, of course, because we're really individual and we're all unique. And I learned this when I used to do allergy testing. And so when I was doing allergy testing, I don't know if you've ever had a Vega test, which is where you've got a point probe and you do it on the acupuncture points, and you put little vials in a machine. So basically, an allergy test, it used to take forever just doing an allergy test. The first machine I had, it used to take an hour just to do a basic allergy test. The next one was computerized, so it's much better. But that first one, and there was a lady, and she had really, really severe allergy symptoms. Like she had hay fever nearly all year round. She had terrible eczema and terrible guts, and so she had a lot of problems. And we knew that she had allergies. So I went through the allergy test and nothing came up. And I just went, oh, this is where my detective hat went on. But I was also going, I was quite new to this at the time. I was going, oh, what could be done? And I said, well, what do you eat a lot of? And she said, well, I have cheese sandwiches nearly every day. And so I put the 2 vials, one was for the gluten and one was for the cheese together, tested them together, and it went off the charts. So basically, yes, in theory, Jules, yes. But if you're a unique little bunny, that your body doesn't like the coconut oil and the avocado together. So do you see what I mean? So, it's complex, but it doesn't, it's probably not. But do you know what I mean? So that's what was so interesting about allergies and intolerances and things that cause us an inflammatory process. Now, the reason I say is potentially it could be in fact causing the inflammation. It also can be something else you've been doing through the day that you introduced your coconut oil and you reacted to, for example. And it could be you might have exercised more than you did the day than you have been. You might have been under a lot of stress for some reason, and like a really stressful day. We've all had those of late. A really stressful day, and you go, you know, everything seems to go AWOL, and the weight goes on. Stress can do that. So it's not just physical stuff, it's emotional stuff. So the foods that you've already tested, so as I say, if you reacted to avocado, retest it in a week's time. And there is a time in the booklet where you retest something. So if you want to retest something, retest it and see how your body reacts to confirm it. So we need to confirm things. We need to make sure that we're not just overreacting to something. Yeah. So Charmaine, you've taken yourself off mute. Did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I do. I had to open my other bottle of the light drops. I've forgotten what that's called. Yeah, so but I didn't, I'm still using my first bottle of the brown one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that second bottle is not going to last me right to the end. So I've been doing 10 drops each time.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't worry too much about it. Because some people need more boost than others.
Yeah.
And because you're doing a lot of exercise, you're doing exercise too, aren't you?
Yeah.
So your need for that is going to be higher. So I would suggest what you do, Charmaine, is you make yourself some Himalayan salt sol, so the saturated solution, and you can give yourself a teaspoon of that once a day, and that might help you not have to have as much boost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you've got the minerals, so you know, you can do that before you exercise or after you exercise, and that'll top you up. So you might find that you don't need to do the 10 drops 3 times a day. You might just need to do 5. And that will last.
Yeah. Got it.
Awesome. Okay. Right. So now, well, I've gone through most of what I was thinking of doing. So I'm going to ask anyone if you've got a question to ask anyone else in the group. So would you like to ask Catherine something, for example, because Catherine's a mine of information on emotional stuff. So anyone want to ask, or Catherine, have you got anything you want to share with that you've found useful on the program?
Yeah, I think that I think it's the accountability can be really key. And whether you know that you need to check in with someone in the group on a regular basis, or check in on the Facebook page, or whatever works for you, because I think that's the key, isn't it, Karen, that we're here to support each other. And you know, we women are a tribal lot, aren't we? We're very community focused and community minded, but we can also be quite stubborn, that when something's not working, we can dig our toes in and go, well, you know, it's not working, or, you know, it's too hard, or what have you. So, you know, and for those of us that are here on the call, that's perhaps you know, something that you've worked through, or you are working through, because as Karen has mentioned, that this is not just a physical detox, it's also an emotional detox. And so there are things that are coming up for all of us, you know, that we have to let go of the layers. We have to be okay with surrendering to what our body is showing us, or what is being shown on so many different levels. So I guess what I would love to check in with you is, you know, how are you tracking in regards to your ascension? from a spiritual perspective, from a place of, are you witnessing more miracles showing up for you? Are the lessons getting harder? Because that can often happen. You talk about the Candida symptoms. Well, also the Ascension symptoms can be quite taxing on the body. You might be tired all the time. You might feel like you're taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps backwards. And this is where we are invited to stay the course and to surrender, and perhaps to journal if that works for you. I run a writing group on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. that you're all welcome to be part of. And every week I ask the ladies in the group a question on an emotional and a spiritual level, and invite them to tune into their core self and to write from that place of, what does my soul, what does my body, what do I need to know? And I think that right now we're deep in the eclipse season, and we're going through retrogrades. And so more than ever, we are invited to just be aware and to notice and to be very kind to ourselves. And so I guess, from a check-in perspective, the question would be, what is your self-awareness right now about your ascension? Do you feel like you are on a fast track of ascension right now? Are you noticing that your life is completely changing? Are you getting more of what you want, or are you being tested? And the great thing about life is that we're always being tested, right?
Oh,
but
yeah.
are you noticing that you're managing it, you're coping with it, you're handling it? So I guess it's just it's a moment of self-reflection, and for each of you to sit with, well, how am I tracking? What am I noticing? What do I want more of, and what do I want less of? So I think what would be really helpful is if we just took a few minutes now and pen and paper. And is that fine to do this, Karen?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
awesome. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I'm such a big believer in the art of journaling. So we're just going to take 5 minutes, and I'm going to invite you just to check in just on your own awareness of your ascension journey. Where are you at? Are you noticing that things are getting easier, or are they getting harder? Are the lessons speeding up? Is your life completely changing? Are you noticing the growth? What are you noticing about your ascension process? So
I'll time it.
Thank you. Let's go for 7 minutes, because I think 7 is a bit of a magical number. So for 7 minutes, I invite you to question yourself. Where am I at on my ascension process? What am I noticing? And what is the growth that I'm aware of? And when you start to write, just keep writing. If you can, keep your pen on your sheet. And if you come up with nothing, just keep writing, and just keep asking yourself the question, where am I at with my ascension process? Where am I at with my ascension process? What am I noticing about my ascension process? It's coming up for me. Okay, so just stay in it. Awesome.
Well, lovely ladies, that, believe it or not, is 7 minutes. Didn't that go fast?
It always does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. So would anyone like to share if anything came up for them that you would be open to letting us in on?
Tegan.
I will. Yeah, that was quite eye-opening for myself. I came into this process and I was really excited about it, knew I needed to do some work and make some changes and stuff, just to my life and my habits and getting healthy. And I started the process and I was 100% into it. And the first week or so, I just was proving to myself all those excuses that I was using. It's, takes too long to cook food, and it's hard, and all those excuses that I had, that I didn't have time to prepare meals and I wouldn't eat them and I was disproving all of them. And I was like, okay, cool, these excuses are not valid. I've seen that, it's actually faster and easier to cook food than buy food. So all these excuses are now disproved. So when I get through this 12 weeks, if I use those excuses again, I know that they're not real. I'm just using them. And so I've been really enjoying the whole process, and I was starting to see some really good results, and my skin is better and my mood is better, and I was starting to, like, I've always slept really well, but I'd wake up and just still be tired, and I was waking up refreshed, and I was just really in this process, loving every moment of it, and just was like, yeah, this is the thing. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait for this to be my new life, and I'm excited to put more veggies in and just have more different options and stuff. And then the last week or so, I've been starting to feel really proud of myself and really good about the whole process. And then as those feelings started to come in, and being proud and just being like, I'm doing so good and I'm so proud and I've done so amazing and I'm looking really good and I feel really good, then everything kind of changed, and I was getting bored of the program, and I started to get tired again, and my mood, I'm just like, oh, everything's Groundhog Day. Like, work is just the same old. There's no wins. Everything is hard and dragging at the moment. And then I've started to put weight on. Like, I've put on 2 kilos in the last week. I'd lost 10 kilos, and now I've put 2 on, and I haven't eaten anything different. And I've just suddenly realized that my self-belief that I'm not worth it and that I can't do anything right and that I'm useless and all of those things are so ingrained in me that as I started to believe different things, those beliefs are sabotaging this process for me to try and hold on, so that I keep thinking them, because whatever it is, at some point in my life, they protected me and kept me safe. And so subconsciously I'm bringing them back, and it's sabotaging this whole process for me. So I've just realized that now, and it's kind of mind-blowing, I guess.
Yeah, it always is mind-blowing that we do this to ourselves. I mean, we've all been there, every single one of us, I'm sure, have been there. We've sabotaged ourselves, like, regular basis,
Can I share too that Tegan, that was very poignant, I think, for many of us, what you've just shared. If you've ever read the book Psychocybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, he talks around the fact that people who've had plastic surgery, when they look at themselves after a few weeks, they see the same self. And they go back into, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not, I need work, whatever. And the same thing can happen on the weight loss journey. And I've noticed that in myself too, that that the triggers of that, that worthiness versus unworthiness can be triggered as we go through this. So this is why I think it's really important to do these questioning and these probing of ourselves, because taking what you've just shared there, that that for you could be the next layer and the next level of the epiphany that's there for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks for sharing.
Yeah, magic. Really cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
And anyone else has, from what Tegan has shared and what you've learned, what's come up for you? Thanks, Daniela.
Yeah, so it's almost the same as Tegan, except with me, there's one issue that keeps coming up from my past. And just when I think I've dealt with it, I'm hit by it. Kind of, it comes out of nowhere. And this week, that's what happened. And I found myself, basically, I spent the whole day feeling sorry for myself and crying on Saturday. And then by Sunday, I'm thinking, I mean, this is the life that I'm living now. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. And just like Tegan, I actually put on weight and I haven't really changed anything, even though I'm craving and I haven't veered away from the program. And I think for me, that's what it is. It's the past is weighing in on me, and I'm even having dreams. And so kind of today, because I started feeling better from my vertigo, and I got on with work and I was busy at home and doing things, I just realized that I need to learn to move on from that and not let that particular issue bother me so much, because there's, just, I know I can't do anything about it now. But I want to learn how to basically deal with getting over it at some way or form. And I think for me, that is what my main issue is at the moment, that it keeps coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes we just keep being hit on the back of the head by something. And it's only when we actually take notice of it that it actually goes away.
It's something I never dealt with. It's there, and I always brush it off. And yeah, just like Tegan, I'm not good enough, and I'm, I just, that is always in the back of my head, telling myself that, because it's happened in the past. Something
so
a little
you're just
bit
going to confirm it.
Yeah.
I think
I think that's the issue with me at the moment.
And also I think we become more sensitive to the weight of the old way, the old structures, the old patterns, and that has a density to it. It actually has a weight to it. And so perhaps one of the techniques that you might try is a forgiveness decree, or simply the Ho'oponopono process, which, if any of you have heard of that, is just a really simple, it's 4 lines, and where you simply say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, to yourself as you're going through this journey. Because as your consciousness expands, and as you become more sensitive, because remember, of course, we're eating more higher vibrational foods, and so we're becoming lighter spiritually, consciously becoming lighter, but we've still got the density of the world, if you like, and all of the physical density of the old structures, and we're also at the same time commanding our bodies to change. So I think that perhaps do some forgiveness work, ladies, if that's something for you. Write about what you can do to forgive yourself, and to lighten the weight on your body.
I also think, thank you for that, Catherine, it's really, really valuable. I also think that we're dealing with grief on a collective level. I think all of us are grieving a part of our lives that we're leaving behind. And some of us might go yeehaw, but also there's a part of us which goes, oh, but there's that. I really, you know, and I think we as humanity at the moment are going through a big grief process, and I think, you know, being kind to ourselves is a really, really important component of that. But also, I found, because I've been doing Catherine's weekly writing, and as I shared with you, I don't know if you saw my post on our group, is the writing enabled me to let go of grief that I'd been holding on to for years and years, and it took me nearly a week to actually process it all. So I've been holding on to it for a bloody long time, you know, and it's sort of like, oh, but it feels so good to shed it. But it didn't feel too good at the time, I can assure you. So we don't always feel really good when we're doing this process, guys. But it's also, the thing is we're doing this for the long haul, not just the short haul. And if we do real profound healing, like real healing, not the sticky plaster type, this is where we're going. And so we can really, really achieve amazing results. Right. Mina, did you want to chat?
Yes, I think what came out for me, the first thing that I wrote down was that I've learned that emotion, especially negative emotions, you know, those where you get up in the morning and you think, oh, I don't want to get up, I'm negative, I don't want to do this, or whatever, whatever your negative emotion is, it's just a visitor. So sit down with it, like pretend you're having a cup of tea with it, and let it go through you, and then say goodbye to it and let it go out the door.
Love that. Love that.
Yes,
that's so cool.
Yes, because the people who haven't been with us in the first part of our journey, or in the first part of my journey, my only daughter lives in South Africa, and my only grandchild, and I have only seen her when she was 6 weeks old, and then lockdown. So because of that, I've got this grief, constant grief, that I cannot see my granddaughter. And yeah, so when it's a day where it feels I cannot do this, I just go sit with it, and whatever helps, I just sit with my cup of tea or coffee, and I just visit with that emotion, and then I say to it, go out the door now, goodbye, you've got my blessing. And it really works for me because I'm a picture person, so I actually see the bloody emotion walk out the door. And that really works for me. And then the other thing is that this healing spirit music that we've introduced at our first detox, it really works for me because I'm on the computer like at night the whole time because I'm a teacher preparing. And I let that play in the background, and all of a sudden now, if I close my computer, I actually go to bed and fall asleep. Where previously, before I was on this program, I couldn't sleep because my mind was just so busy that I literally worked on 3 or 2 hours asleep at night. And now whenever I go to bed, whether it's 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, I actually sleep till 6 o'clock in the morning. And that is the amazing thing for me, apart from the weight loss, is this thing that you guys have introduced, this healing spirit music to me, because it really works for me. And it works for some of my students at school as well. I've introduced it to them as well, and they actually say, Mina, it's really working.
That's magic. Mina, thank you for reminding me, because I've realized I didn't share the solfeggios. It was the solfeggios, wasn't it? And so I'll put the link in the group tomorrow, as well as I've got the files which tells you what all the solfeggios are for. And so you can pick which one you like, and you can go onto YouTube and you can find the solfeggios. They are brilliant. They really are amazing. They can help with so many things. There's some that can help with EMF exposure. There's some which will be really quite useful with the with the 5G. There's also Transformation and Miracles. There's so many. I think there's about 9 different solfeggios, and they really are good. And so there's one of them which is 444 hertz, and if you scroll through it on YouTube, some of them you might not like the sound of, and that's cool. Just find another one. There'll be ones that you really like, and I'm sure Mina's got favorites that she can share, one of her favorites on the group if you're up for it, Mina. So, okay. Anyone else want to share anything before we say adieu and postpone, go off into our lovely world and make hay, as they say, while the sun shines. Let's hope the sun shines tomorrow, because it was beautiful today. Yeah. Awesome. Okie dokie, lovely ladies. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really look forward to hearing how you're going. Don't forget, if you need any help, we're here. We're all here to support one another, and so consequently, that's our job. And if you need anything specific, don't hesitate to ask. Okay. All right, my lovelies.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you,
Thanks,
thank you,
ladies.
thank you. Lots and lots of
Bye.
love to you all, and we'll see you very soon.